Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Malted Bampot and welcome to the Independent for Wednesday the 29th of August. If you're a returning subscriber to the Independent, welcome back, and if you are new to the show, then hello. The Independent is a daily show discussing the latest and greatest games released each day, and there sure are a lot of them. We whittle them down to more digestible daily chunks to make it easier for you to decide where to invest your cash, and maybe even discover that hidden gem you never knew existed. We've got a good mix of genres today actually. We have a platformer, we have survival, we even have a shooting gallery of all things. Yes, a shooting gallery. So without further ado, let us get stuck in and allow me to present the Independent's top 5 games out today. Come one, come all, ye wretched souls of scum and villainy. Certainly the big title for today is SCU.M, a PC survival game which is entering early access, so this isn't exactly a new idea, but I'm pretty hopeful for this one. The publisher is Devolver Digital, the Robin Hood of the games industry, therefore it has a serious backer and this game has every chance of hopefully becoming as good as it looks. Devolver's wacky humour is also definitely coming through in the source material. So I have strong feelings of the Running Man in this one. In fact, I find it unlikely that it wasn't a strong inspiration. In simple terms, SCU.M is a TV show run by the entertainment behemoth TEC1, involving prisoners being thrown onto an island and fighting to survive. Now, for sure, each new survival game tries to push the boundaries in terms of survival mechanics, but simply adding more and more priorities for the player to balance isn't necessarily a good thing. To that end, SCU.M's focus is on character creation and customization, which then affects absolutely everything you do in the world, from how easily you can chop down a tree to how quickly your clothes dry after it rains. There are some practical and interesting mechanics claimed to be in here, so for example, if you get all of your teeth knocked out in a fist fight with another player, you need to find a way to liquefy your food because you can no longer eat it. And here's an interesting one. Do you want to know an interesting one? I'll take that as a yes. The game individually tracks each piece of food that you eat and its journey along your digestive tract, ending in, yep, you guessed it, Poo Simulator 2018, or as we'd say in Scotland, a big bastard of a jobby. So the game includes single player, online with up to 64 other players in the one island, and there's also a co-op online mode. It's a huge map, 144 square kilometers, including all sorts of different environments. Vehicles are on the horizon, but are not in the game at the moment. So honestly, this game looks immensely gorgeous and complex, but I would urge you to remember that it is early access, and creating a compelling survival experience involves the spinning of many plates. It's not easy. However, if you are interested in getting involved in the process and helping shape what looks like it could be a very compelling survival game with a humorous twist, this could be worth a look. And reducing scope slightly from death orgies on an abandoned island, next up we have Western 1849 Reloaded, a nice little title releasing today on Switch. This is a brushed up edition of the PC version which was released last year, which was itself a remastered edition of the mobile game released in 2015 for iOS and Android, and our fathers, and our fathers' fathers, and our fathers' fathers' fathers, you get the point. A shooting gallery game like this has a challenging presence on PC, but I can see it making much more sense on the Switch. You can aim using the Joy-Cons when docked or the analog sticks when in handheld mode. There isn't tons much more that can be said here because it is what it looks like. It is worth noting that the PC version reviews are positive, although there were people complaining about performance issues and that the game is generally a bit repetitive. Yeah, performance issues, funnily enough, in a game that should be able to run on a potato, so let's hope that the Switch version is better optimised. And in terms of it being repetitive, well, comments like that probably highlight why it's not really a good fit for the PC platform, but with the dip in, dip out gameplay of the Switch, it strikes me as a much more natural pairing. Next up today we have Mercenary Leto. This is a rather pretty 2D platformer which is entering early access on PC. It's advertised as having a retro SNES vibe about it, and it certainly does seem to. There are sections that look very much like the SNES's Mode 7 effect. Oh god, I miss F-Zero. Overall, this looks very endearing and massively imaginative. The entire game is a one-person show, programming, art, characters, the lot, drawing on external help as and when. It's the developer's first commercial product, although they do have previous experience in the game development process. It certainly doesn't seem to be a long game, currently lasting only 20 to 25 minutes, and is apparently a third of the way complete, meaning that the planned final product won't be too long either. But to be fair, sometimes that's okay. Length to price ratio is an entirely subjective proposition, and it's up to you to decide whether it's worth it to you individually. Ultimately, the developer of this game seems switched on and ready to work with the community to make the best game possible, while also clearly having a very imaginative but also technically proficient approach. So if you're interested in supporting the indie scene, it doesn't get much more indie than this, and the game so far looks like a labour of love through and through. I wish them every success and hope the game scrubs up well over time. Today's penultimate entry is another small indie game, so the concept is simple: ZOOMnBOOM? Also something about doom and gloom. To which I say, to whom? I hear you fume. No, our destiny shall not loom, lest this room become our tomb. Yeah, sorry, it's the developer's fault, the summary got me started. Anyway, let us resume. This looks like a title that could be fun with friends or online, which it does support. Your vehicle gets faster and faster, and you need to avoid crashing into the trails left by your fellow racers. You can play against bots if you are without friends. Nothing too mental here, nothing too out there, and it seems to be the developer's first game. The scope here is rather small, but that's not necessarily a terrible thing. It's better to focus on a specific idea and implement it well than overreach and deliver nothing but nonsense. So I felt it could be interesting here to some folks, hence its inclusion on today's list. A little bit like Wipeout's Zone mode. I'm sure it's Zone or something like that where it gets faster and faster. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of anyway, and it obviously looks a bit similar to Wipeout, so yep, could be interesting. Rounding off today, we have another PC survival game entering early access, but this time we have a very different focus to SCU.M. While SCU.M was all about the character, Green Hell is all about the environment. It's not about eating, drinking, and dropping realistic turds, but rather about building shelters, making tools, and crafting weapons. And to do so, you will allegedly have to learn real survival techniques. The game is set in the Amazon rainforest, hence the Green Hell, and seems to involve a surface level horror component, to be honest. That's what I'm getting from it. I think the idea is to show off the horrors of nature as you fight off the wildlife, elements, and disease. So don't expect any zombies or spear-wielding natives here. This is very much a fight against Mother Nature in all of her terrifying self. There currently are not any plans for a console version, and as it stands, only an introductory section to the campaign mode is available. So right now, the actual mode you can play is the less structured survival mode, which at this stage probably makes more sense as a way to introduce the mechanics and what the game is all about. So, absolutely, survival games are indeed to a penny, but that does not mean that interesting titles should be ignored. It just means the market is competitive. And certainly some people will roll their eyes and sigh when met with, oh yeah, another early access survival game. And I feel it too for sure, but choice is always good for the consumer and, in theory anyway, allows the best titles to bubble to the top. That's why you have shows like the Independent to point... No, sorry, no, I can't do a segue into that. That would be horrible. Okay folks, this has been your daily installment of The Independent for Wednesday the 29th of August, and it is 2018. I almost forgot the year there. Have you ever done that? Forgotten the year? God. My name is Malted Bampot, and if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you bloody well subscribe, because if you don't, YouTube will put this entire series in a box, they will lock the box, they will throw the box to the bottom of the ocean, they will drain the ocean, and they will destroy the entire goddamn planet with a Google Death Star. So subscribe and enable notifications by hitting that bell, and YouTube will possibly give you 1 in 5 chance of getting a notification for the series every third Wednesday. Okay folks, once again I've been Malted Bampot, that's Malted with an M and Bampot with a B. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll catch you again tomorrow.